Hey guys, this is Sandy, Girl with the Grill, and today we are doing a pork butt on the Weber Smoky Mountain. Let's get cooking. Alright guys, we are doing an 8-pound pork butt, also known as a Boston butt, today in the smoker. And I have already trimmed this roast. As you can see, there's a lot of fat in a pork butt, but since we are going to pull it at the end of our cook for pulled pork sandwiches and whatnot, I trimmed a lot of this fat away that's not going to render down in my smoker, and it's just going to be chewy and awful, and took off the skin, which is not necessary. So what I'm going to do is season this roast and with a little bit of mustard as a binder. It will not come out in your cook. You won't taste any mustard, but we're going to slather this on really, really good on all sides. Okay, just like that. All right, so we're going to do one side and let it set for about 5 minutes so it sets on my roast, and when I flip it over, all the seasoning won't come out. So what I did was do a mixture of equal parts of kosher salt, 16 mesh pepper, and a little bit of paprika for color, because we want a really good bark on this guy. So what I'm going to do is kind of go back and forth, and you can season this liberally. Okay, this is a big piece of meat. Just go back and forth, just like that. Don't ever rub it, just pat it in. This is what's going to give you your bark. But since we are going to pull it, the seasoning will be on your bark and will be mixed into the pulled pork when we pull it. When it's done. Get all sides, cup your hands so you can make sure you pat it on the side. And like I said, you cannot over season pork. This is a very forgiving piece of meat. If you are a beginner barbecuer, griller, this is the cut of meat that I suggest that you start with, because you can't really screw this up. Okay, 8 pounds will take about 8 to 10 hours on the smoker at 270 degrees. And we are ready to put our pork on the Weber Smoky Mountain Grill we're using today. And let me tell you how we prepared this. Down on the bottom is about 40 briquettes that we started with a fire chimney. We used the minion method, which means we're going to, and I wish I had it here, which I do. What I did is, instead of lighting the large side, I lit the smaller side, and we lit those briquettes until they got gray, and then poured them in the middle of the briquettes in the bottom, and then stirred it up. Then I added about 4 pieces of hickory wood on top of my coals. And then on top of that, in this section here, we have a water pan, which will keep our pork butt moist and flowing throughout the cook. So we don't want it to dry out. So that's the difference between a regular grill and a Smoky Mountain, which we're using water. The grill temperature, or the cook temperature we want today, is 270 degrees. I'm going to put the pork butt on and let it go for 6 hours before wrapping, and I'm going to check it in 3. And I've got some apple cider vinegar in a spritzer bottle, and if we see any dry edges, or we're going to spritz it after, I'm going to check it after about 3 hours, maybe 4, and then we're going to check it and spritz it if necessary. So let's get our butt on. Just gonna set this right here. Just gonna grab it. It's beautifully seasoned with just salt, pepper, and a little paprika. Today we're using the BBQ, which will keep an eye on our grill temperature at all times. I don't want it to lose heat, and I don't want it to increase in temperature where I'm going to burn my butt. So this little thing is going to monitor my cook temp and my grill temp, my food temp. So there we go. All right, so we're gonna just let it go for about, and my eyes are watering here. We're gonna let it go for about 3 to 4 hours before I check it. And welcome back. We are at 6 hours in our cook, and the temperature is reading on my BBQ 152. I usually like to go to 160 before I wrap it, but we're gonna go ahead and pull it off because I've got my own take on how I do my pork butts. So let's check this guy out. Been running a temperature of about 250, 270, and if you'll take a look here, it is forming this beautiful bark. And then you can see that the fat is rendering and then it's starting to split. So I know that it's time for us to go ahead and wrap it. So I'm just going to take this thermometer out. And you want to follow me to the table. We're going to... So my take on doing a pork butt is to add clods to my tray here, which we're going to cover in foil and put back on the grill. This is the time you want to wrap it in foil. If that's what you do, you wrap it very, very tightly and put it back on the grill for another 3 to 4 hours. Or my way, which I love, clods. It's a very, very smoky, chili, has molasses in it, has a little bit of sugar, has garlic, onion. It has salt and vinegar and a little bit of hickory smoke. This is awesome. I'll put a link down below if you guys want to try this. It is a marinade, but I love to go ahead and baste my pork in this. So what I did was take 12 ounces of the clods and mixed it with 8 ounces of the water, of just plain water. And I'm going to pour it on here all around my pork roast. And this will help keep it moist, along with the juices of the pork itself. This is an amazing flavor. So now I'm just going to seal it tightly with the shiny side down because we want the heat to penetrate, and we're going to wrap it as tightly as we possibly can around this pan. So we've already got a beautiful bark on this. This is going to be phenomenal pulled pork. What I love to do with it most is not only make pulled pork sandwiches, but we do breakfast burritos where we'll fry some potatoes and do some green chili and cheese and egg and anything else you want to wrap in a burrito for breakfast. This pulled pork is to die for. So now that I'm ready, hey guys, while our pork is back on the grill, I'm going to make some creamy applesauce, coleslaw, to go with our pulled pork sandwiches. This is amazing. Coleslaw to me goes with pork like peas and carrots. All right, it just goes together. You've got the beautiful crunch and the sweetness of the slaw that counteracts the smokiness of the pork. So I'm going to put together this recipe and I'll list it down below for you guys. First of all, I use bag coleslaw already shredded and cut. And as you can see, now you can go the extra mile and buy cabbage and shred it yourself. I just am more about convenience, and this is perfectly fine for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the dressing first. So what I do is I have a half a cup of cream. I'm sorry, it's a third cup of cream. This is whole whipping cream. All right. Then it's a fourth cup of apple cider vinegar. 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Get that out of there for now. Apple cider vinegar. 2 tablespoons of sugar and half a teaspoon of kosher salt. And actually 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. Almost forgot the best part. I love Dijon. It's got such a nice flavor. And I'm going to whisk this together. As you can see. Just whisk it to a really nice consistency where everything is blended. Okay, it's pretty quick. Then I'm going to add my coleslaw mix and my apples. And I'm going to toss. This is amazing. I love the apples. It's Granny Smith, or actually I used Red Delicious because it adds a little more sweetness, a little more crunch. But Granny Smith works fine, Fiji works fine. But this is going to be an amazing addition to your pulled pork sandwiches. And I always make it at least an hour. I want you to take a look at this. How amazing this really is. Can you see this? If you could smell this, you would die. So what I did to recap is I put it on at 9 o'clock this morning. This has been a 9-hour cook, half an hour rest, okay? I took it off 200 degrees internal temperature, all right? So I wasn't worried about overcooking it or undercooking it. I just wanted to reach 200 degrees so I could pull it, all right? As you can see, that it's going to fall off the bone, all right? If you could smell this, you would just die. My take on a pulled pork, which is the Claude's 12 ounces of Claude's marinade and 8 ounces of water. After 6 hours of cooking, we added this to the pan and completely sealed this. So as you can see, the juice is phenomenal. So I bought the bone-in pork, which we'll pull out right now. Look at that. Super clean. All right. Toss that puppy. We are going to pull this. You can do this with forks. I've got these insulated gloves that I'm just going to pull off. The fat, oh my God, this is this is amazing. Look at the juice. So we've got a lot of smoky flavor. We've got the bark that I seasoned with salt and pepper and paprika, just very simple. Okay, we're just going to pull this apart and we're just going to allow this to soak in this juice. I just want you to see this. Okay. This is a beginner. If you're a beginner barbecuer, do a pulled pork. It is if you have the time, which it took us 9.5 hours to cook, and you don't have to babysit it. You put it on for 6 hours, and then you wrap it, or you put it in a marinade of your choice. It is the most forgiving piece of meat. And it's going to feed a lot of people. And this is, when you order pulled pork in a restaurant, this is what you get. This is just falling apart. It smells amazing. It is phenomenal. We're going to put these on some brioche buns with some coleslaw and some red onion. You could use pickles. You could use barbecue sauce. It is so flavorful. I can't even stand it. I got to take a bite, okay? Oh my God. This is so good. This is amazing. This is by far the best pork butt I've ever done. Look at that. Okay, now that's a freaking sandwich. Okay. We are going to just enjoy that. If you don't mind, I'm going to take a bite. That is the best I've ever had. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm Sandy, Girl with the Grill. Catch you later.